Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Meredith E Phillips. I have received back the feedback, the critique from my mentor. So, you want to look at it with me? I haven't looked at it yet. I got the email and was like, well, obviously I have to film this content creator lifestyle. You know how it is. So I'm going to pull it up over here and look at it. Actually, before I look at it, let me just, in case you're new around here or you've forgotten, I got into a mentorship program earlier in, when did I get into that? Oh my gosh, October. October, I was accepted into the mentorship program, and I worked at first on revising mainly the end of the book. My mentor had already read it, the draft that I sent for this program application, and she was like, the ending is a little, and I was like, I completely agree with you. So I worked on revising the last third of the book mainly. I did a little bit of other revision earlier in the project. I sent that to her on November 15th. She technically had all the way until December 6th, Friday, December 6th, to review the project, leave all of her notes, do an edit letter, all of the things. It is Monday, December 2nd. This woman does all of the things so incredibly well and so incredibly fast. I'm just like, how are you doing all of these things? Anyway, she's sent this back to me. I'm going to take a look. I'm very excited. I'm very eager to know what kinds of revision work she's going to suggest. I'm very excited to get started on whatever it might be. There's a few things where I'm like, maybe she'll is this good? Is this bad? Blah, I don't know. So I'm very interested to see what she has to say, and what my workload will look like for the next couple weeks. One thing that I'm going to try really hard to just not be stupid about is, I feel like everybody does this, and it's so stupid because it doesn't make any sense, but this is what I do. You tell me what you do. You get back a critique or some sort of feedback on your work. There could be 10,000 positive things, and they could just be it could be this glowing report of your work. And there could be one comment where the person is like, I don't know if you need this comma here. And you'll be like, well, they hate the whole thing. I just, So I'm going to try really hard not to just go off the deep end. I know part of my brain is going to go there. I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, she actually hates it. She doesn't. Okay? She doesn't hate it. She literally picked it as the project she wanted to work on for this mentorship program. She could have picked someone else. She likes my project. Okay, Meredith, future Meredith. She likes the project. So we're just going to try to be chill and just rein myself back in after I read this. So there's two components here. There's the actual email where she's like, hey, here's the general feedback list of things I think you should look at, whatever. And then of course she's attached the manuscript with all of her in document comments. I haven't opened that yet, so I have no idea how densely commented it's going to be. Is there going to be 2 or 3 comments on a page? 17 comments on a page? I don't know. So we'll look at that in a minute. I'm going to look at just the letter here first, the email, and see what she has to say. So let's read it. Okay, very good. So, main points. There's one of the characters' emotional arcs where she said she thinks it's there, it's just not quite as explicit as it needs to be in terms of cluing the reader in. So she said she's marked some stuff in the document where it's she's saying just add a few little pieces, a few little sentences here or there, and that should flesh that out a little bit. So that's great. The more guess what we're going to be revising? The freaking ending. No, it's fine. So she has a way here where she's suggesting how to condense the ending a little bit, which is fine. She does say right now we remember the draft I sent her for this feedback stuff was like 94.5K. Okay, like calm down, Meredith. Jeez. So she was like, I'd really love to keep it under 90 for querying. Absolutely agree. So she said there's some stuff where she would want to see it fleshed out a little more. And so she's saying, like, if you kind of tighten up this ending piece and streamline the events that are happening, you'll be able to cut words from the ending, and then, you know, the places where maybe you add more earlier, it'll still even out and hopefully get it under 90,000 words. Ooh, okay, so that's good. That's good. I'm fine. I'm fine. The revision she's suggesting here to the end isn't, I wouldn't say it's significant. She's not saying like cut 10 chapters and rewrite a whole new thing. It's not that. There will be, it seems like, some rewriting, but not, again, not like chapters and chapters and chapters worth. So that's very good. Let me download this massive document and see what I'm working with in terms of, in terms of inline comments. Okay, that's very good. I'm very excited. She's very complimentary in other parts of this. She did say nice things too, so that's good. Remember, we're gonna make sure we are looking at the positive stuff too. You little weirdo. Word is absolutely taking its entire time to open this document because it is large. Okay, I'm actually glad. Chapter 1, it's not like super dense in terms of comments, which I'm actually super glad about. I feel like last year when I had beta readers, what I did, I had 6 beta readers, which was really too much, Meredith, but that's fine. I took all of the documents with everybody's in-doc comments and I combined it into one document. And when I tell you, the comment situation was a little out of control. It was just a lot to like look at. And it took me a while to be like, how do I even sort through this? So I was, anyway, her comments are a little sparse, more sparse than that, which is fantastic. Okay. I'm doing good. A lot of her comments are just like her reacting to stuff, which is great. Like, it's good to know, like, this line is supposed to be kind of humorous. So I'm glad you found it humorous, you know, like that kind of stuff. Okay, so let me go through all of this and just sort of like take it in, you know? So I'll be back later with some thoughts, I guess, maybe if I have some. Okay, it is later in the day. It's about 5 o'clock after work. I've had time to just like sit with things and think through things and just be excited. I'm excited. I feel like overall the feedback was very positive, and there is definitely work still to be done, but I'm like excited to do it. It doesn't... At this point, well, check in with me in like 4 weeks and see how I'm doing. At this point, though, it doesn't feel like an overwhelming amount of work to do. I feel like I have a plan almost going into this. I haven't like she's kind of outlined her ideas for revision. I need to go in and like really look through it super carefully and decide, you know, that's just her thoughts. I don't have to do it the way she's suggesting, obviously. I'm not saying I see anything inherently wrong in it at this point, but I'm just saying, like, I've got to go in and make my own evaluation and decide how I'm going to go forward. But I've got, like, a starting point. Whereas with the last revision, where it was, like, redo the ending, somehow I didn't have, like, an outline. I didn't have like a bullet point list of ideas. It was just like, make it better, which is horrible. So that felt very much like I gotta figure out like what I'm actually gonna do first before I can even start doing things. This, I feel like I have a pretty solid plan already in place. Maybe I'm gonna do some little tweaks to it, but it's, you know, the plan is already there. All I need to do is get started on stuff pretty much. So I'm very excited. She also sent back later in the day my query letter, which I looked at briefly. Her email was funny. She was like, just brace yourself because I had a lot of thoughts and notes and suggestions. But I didn't feel like it wasn't anything, I don't know. I just remember when I got the query back, when I had it critiqued, there were a lot of comments in there. Like, it was it was a lot of comments for a single page of material. So this, I felt like she was suggesting just sort of like wording changes and sort of changing the focus of it a little bit, which is totally fine. If you were here back in September, early September, when I wrote the query letter, because that was part of the package of things you had to submit to apply for the program. I wrote that query letter and the synopsis in a week, and we agonized over the query letter. You can go back and watch the vlog. Yeah, so I was not at all in any kind of mindset of thinking like, wow, that query letter was like amazingly perfect. It definitely was not. So I'm very happy to change that up. I'm not going to like focus on that really at all at this point. I mean, I do need to go back to it. We can do that at a later point. I definitely want to dive into the manuscript and fixing that up. So I think what I'm going to do is go and print. I think I'm just going to print this email where she's like, here are my thoughts. That's awesome. But this is like a wall of text here, and it'll be easier for me to focus on the pieces that actually need work if I print it and then do some highlighting. So let's do that. One thing that is so satisfying about getting feedback like this is that you can see where or if different elements of the story are landing the way you want them to. So like some of her in-document comments are her like laughing at the lines that are supposed to be funny, or she's commenting on like, oh, this scene is hitting at like the perfect moment or whatever. And so it's really good to know that it is flowing the way that I hoped it was flowing. It's so hard to tell a lot of times when it's just you rereading the same scene that you've reread 10,000 times. It's hard to know, like, does this work? Because I think it does, but I'm so like jaded to the effect I want it to have because I've read it so many times. I'm not entirely sure. So it's really nice to have this kind of feedback and to know, okay, yes, these things are on the right track. These things need a little help, etc., etc. All right, so it's about evening mealtime for me. I'm going to just just sit with this. You know, I'm not planning to do any work tonight on it, but tomorrow we'll be up at our usual time, and we'll get to work on it. We will get to work on it. So I'm really excited. I think the first thing I'm going to do, because there's some notes on this that was in her email, and then there's additional notes about like reworking the placement of things in the in-doc comments. So I definitely want to go back to the outline and redo the outline so that that'll be my map for how I'm revising things. So we'll get into the weeds of it all tomorrow and through the rest of the week. But for today, for now, I'm gonna sign off. So I'll see you later. Hey, it's Thursday the 5th, and it's been a busy week for me. It's been good. I've gotten some work done, honestly. My early morning writing session times has maybe been taken up with a lot of video editing because apparently we're doing 2 videos a week this month. That's not what the plan was, but anyway, that's like how it's working out. As evidenced by the fact that I'm pretty sure this video was gonna go live on Tuesday, the 10th. Happy birthday, Mom. But I have gotten some work done. So let me just kind of tell you how I've been working through these comments. So like I said, the first pass, we got rid of the positive comments. The second pass, I went through the track changes and got rid of like the things I'd spelled wrong. That was like super simple. It took me like 5 minutes to go through those, right? Then I got into the rest of the comments that were left. I had about 80 comments left that were like, hey, think about changing whatever. Of those, there were about 20 where it was a really simple, quick fix where she was like, I don't think you need this paragraph, or, you could delete this. It was a lot of like deleting small chunks of text or adding like a really quick phrase to clarify what I was talking about. Or there were a couple paragraphs where I had a lot of like he's and hims, but there were two he's and hims to be referencing. And so like the pronouns were getting like kind of a little mysterious in there. So things like that were really quick and easy to fix. So I'm now down to about 60 comments. And the next phase that I'm going to try to do is going through and picking out the ones that have like a little bit more to add or fiddle with, but still are relatively contained to like fix something in this paragraph or fix something on this page, and then leave the bigger comments for later. So a lot of these like next level comments are things where she's like, oh, this is such a great moment, like draw it out a little bit more, or add a little bit more of an emotional beat here, or add one little sentence kind of exploring this feeling you're talking about, like just a little bit more. It's a lot of just like expanding things just a little bit more to really let the reader like sit in that moment for a good amount of time. So those will take me a little bit longer to do because it'll involve like writing new stuff, but it'll be small. It'll be like a sentence or 3 sentences. You know, it'll be a relatively small bit of added text. After that, we'll get to the big things where it's like cut this giant thing or consolidate this. There are a couple spots where she has suggested doing the scene from the other character's POV, which would mean essentially rewriting the whole thing. I need to carefully consider those because I don't want to not do it because I'm just being lazy. There's one at the beginning where she's like, this would be really good from his POV. And it would be. But then then there's sometimes where like in this earlier chapter, if I switch it to his POV, then we're going to have 4 chapters in a row from his POV, which feels like a lot. That feels like maybe then it'll feel unbalanced. I don't know. So anyway, things like that I need to still think about. But that's where I'm at for the moment. I'm going to try to get through these like still slightly smaller change this kind of comments today and tomorrow. We'll see how I go. And then the weekend we'll actually be really diving into restructuring things or all of the bigger kind of comments. That's the update for now. I'll see you maybe tomorrow. All right, so here we are, Friday morning, and Fridays do be Fridaying. I looked at this document for about an hour and a half, and I think I fiddled with like maybe a sentence or 2. I don't know. I felt very unfocused this morning, which is kind of unusual for me, at least in the mornings. I kept looking at different comments and being like, oh, I'll work on this one. And then just like not really knowing what I wanted to do with it. And the comments, it was all, the things I was looking at were like, add a little bit more emotion here, or like draw out this moment. It was just adding like little things. It wasn't some massive, far-reaching shift in the narrative or something. It was little additions. I just was like, I was like really struggling to get into it. I don't know what was wrong with me. But anyway, I really did not get all that much done. So my goal for this upcoming weekend is to take care of those little piddly comments that, just need an extra sentence or 2, and then really get into the main bulk of figuring out what to combine, delete, alter, mainly in that second half of the book. So that is what you will get to see, whether or not I was successful in this Friday's vlog. It'll be the regular kind of weekend vlog. Look forward to that, I guess. Real quick before I sign out here, I did want to do a couple Patreon shout outs. So special thank you this week to Jenna, Bob, Tracy, Kelli, Mary Beth, and Nicole. Thank you guys so much for checking out the Patreon. As of recording, there were, I think, 2 spots in the tier 3, which includes the 10-page critique / beta read / I will give you the feedback of your choice. So if you're interested in that, check it out. There are 2 other tiers below that have unlimited spots. And then of course there is always the join for free button. But for now, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, you can click the subscribe button. I usually post videos on Fridays. This month, I don't know what is happening with all of these Tuesday videos, but we're just gonna go with it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye!